Hi, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that I find fascinating. It's called what I call the teenage theory. This is not something I've seen documented anywhere. It's not something that is like a known term. It's just something I made up, but I kind of love it because it exemplifies, if you know teenagers, it exemplifies some of the things that we run into all the time in marketing and probably other organizations. I haven't really been in other organizations, but for marketing specifically, is the thing that like we will say, we're going to try this strategy X, Y, Z, whatever it is, and this is the validation behind that. That's why we're going to do this. And then people are suspect of it. Like I've seen this a lot throughout my career. Is like, okay, or we're going to do this message. Okay, not really bought into it. The person that you're talking to is not really bought in. You can tell the body language is off. The enthusiasm is not there. They're willing to try whatever you're saying, but then they go away. They have a conversation with someone who is not you, who is not someone within the organization, or they read a book, or they read a blog from some sort of influencer or whoever else is in the industry, but it's someone that is not you. And they come back and they're like, hey, we should try this thing, this activity, or this message, or this thing. And what is that thing? It's probably a derivative of the thing that you originally said. Now, in other circles, this, can also be called mansplaining. We get explained to things that are obvious to us as women. There's other terms for it and for other things that we're talking about. But this teenage theory that I like to call it, I see it with my teenager. I'll tell him something that is I know to be true. It is something that I am very confident about. And he's like, that maybe doesn't make any sense, or I don't know about that. And then he'll go read about something somewhere else, someone he doesn't has no idea about, probably on YouTube or whatever. And then he comes back and he's like, oh, you were right. Yeah, you were right. Yeah, teenage theory. So what I'm trying to get at with this is that as marketing people, I think one way to combat a lot of this suspect behavior, this teenage thing, is first of all, you got to be patient with it. Like it's going to happen. There's so many times in my career where I've also had someone come to me and say, hey, I know this trick. Someone told me about this trick about going viral, for instance. Okay, virality is not a thing that I usually want to try to do in marketing. It's a blip on the radar. You see it with press releases sometimes where you put something out, it gets a ton of traction on your website, and then the traction goes away. It's a blip. It's not, unless you have to do something that to sustain that virality. It's not like in consumer, you can make a ton of money right away from having something go viral and then that person is never heard of from again. You don't want to replicate in that B2B. You want to be someone that's consistently there, consistently bringing in revenue. You want something that's repeatable, rinse and repeatable, that somebody can continue to do. You can continue to make money, hand over fist over. So going viral, not a thing. But anyway, it's the same concept. So how, as marketers, do we get over this teenage theory with, people who don't understand what we do? And I think a big part of that is to be just so when you say something, and you don't have to do this for everything that you do, especially if you're trusted within your organization, people just let you run with it. But if you're finding that you're constantly in these types of conversations, is try to find a validating source for whatever it is that you're trying to do. I know that sounds easy, but it's something that it's like sometimes you need to be reminded of this. And so I'd like to remind you of this is if you want to try a new campaign tactic, or you want to bring Gen AI into your organization to help with something, and people are suspect about it and they're like, you have to back up your sources. You have to back up your reason for wanting to bring that in. So go to the influencers in the organization. You need to find out who influences your people that you're pitching to, and find some source that they will find reputable, that they will be like, oh, well, if so-and-so said it, then it's definitely a thing that we should try and back it up that way. Like, you should have these sources available to you, especially if it's something that you believe wholeheartedly in and you know that it's going to have an impact on your business. Do the work to get those sources, because it will help you streamline that decision making process internally. Like, you have validated that thing that you're wanting to try. It's not just something that you came up with while you were taking a shower and now let's like dive in. It's been proven to have results somewhere else. Let's try it here and then go from there. Teenage theory is not something that honestly that you should be dealing with on a regular basis. It should be something that comes up periodically. If you do find that you're having to deal with this teenage theory all the time at your business, you might want to reflect on why you're there. Frankly, you want to be surrounded by people who are, especially if you have built your reputation and you're a dependable person, you have results. If you are constantly having to validate yourself internally, then you might want to find an organization that actually supports that kind of go-get-emness, because it is a skill set. It is something that I find valuable. If you're willing to try things and change the status quo and challenge the status quo, like, do that for the sanctity of your mental health. So that's my take. If you have any other points that you'd like to talk about, any things that like just irritate you, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Talk to you soon. Bye.